What's up? Welcome back to my channel, or for the first time if you're new, I'm Sylvan, and today I'm going to be reacting to Hugo's character demo, Leading Man of the Apocalypse. I love that title. I can't wait to get into this. I'm a real big Hugo fan. I've enjoyed him in the story so far, and I'm very excited to see what his trailer looks like. So I'm not going to delay things at all. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video, leave a comment on your thoughts, and let's get into this. What do you have for us, Hugo?
Another emergency meeting?
Okay.
Oh man, I can't miss this. The captain's already here.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm running behind.
If we didn't know what he looked like, that's a pretty good disguise, but God, is it obvious.
Listen up. We're about to discuss our person of interest. I need everyone focused.
All right. Ooh. The black and white bit was cool.
Our target this time is the leader of Mockingbird,
Oh.
the infamous Phantom Thieves Syndicate.
This is a really interesting
They often
visual
infiltrate
style.
high society gatherings with disguises.
The song's very in style with his boss theme. Got the cards, nice. Wow, this like fuzzy, almost painted style is wild. Magic trick, okay.
After every heist, they always make a flashy exit.
Of course.
Like he's rubbing it in our faces.
Of course he is. He's a phantom thief.
One time, we finally had him cornered. Backed him
Oh,
into a
really?
dead end.
God, this is really interesting how they're doing like all the stills and
The
stuff.
bastard found the perfect moment, smashed through a window, and jumped straight into a hollow. The guy's a lunatic.
Oh, yes he
Farewell, my
is.
friends. I shall return.
And yes he will.
Treasure doesn't shine
Yo!
brightest. Lies.
The
By the
lyrics,
covenant of darkness, I shall steal your light.
the music and colors are amazing in
Your
this.
anger is like a dull blade. Can't even cut my shadow. Before chasing the storm, one ought to learn to dance with the dust.
Oh my God.
But today will be the end of Mockingbird. This is his next mark.
Sure.
If we use it as bait, it's empty. Damn it!
They're already in here?
Yep, he's already on his way out.
How is this any different from regular thievery?
Don't you just love the look on their faces?
Ah.
It's too flashy.
Relax. Your dirty little secrets are about to come to light. Soon you'll be on your knees begging me for mercy, hypocrites.
Oh, hi, Lycon. Interesting.
See you all in the next act.
Ooh, okay. Very cool. This is a delight of a trailer. For the majority of this trailer, they did this really interesting art style where it clearly is just like a filter or something on the 3D models, but it looks really interesting the way it's done. It has this fuzzy, almost painted look to it, as I mentioned in the reaction itself, which I actually really like the vibe of. And then of course the beginning bit is just conventional style, but then we get to this fight scene where we have these really incredible looking stylistic flashes, which are essentially impact frames, but the characters are white on red backgrounds and stuff. It's really cool looking. But to go through it thoroughly from the beginning, we start with the framing of this random police officer who is going to an emergency meeting, and they're complaining about the fact that it's another one. This has been happening a lot. Evidently, Hugo has been causing them a lot of trouble. But then he bumps into someone else, which we know to be Hugo based on the hair, but obviously just enough of a disguise to not be noticed by someone in a hurry. And though I didn't pick up on it in the initial watch through, there's also Vivian less drawn attention to. It's actually really solid. They know that we're looking for Hugo, so they draw our attention to Hugo, but then Vivian is also there, just casually walking in the background for a few seconds. It lines up with the vibe and aesthetic of Hugo as a character. He is a phantom thief a performer, a magician. He directs our attention where he wants it so that then he can do stuff in the shadows. And this is one such case. He draws attention to himself because he knows that he is the subject of attention so that we don't notice Vivian. In universe, that's not necessarily the case, but it's just a fun metatextual instance of it. We then follow the guy going into the meeting, where then we get the briefing on what is going on, which is they are trying to pin down Hugo. Then we cut into this interesting style with Hugo stepping off of a building and into this just void space as the police officer just describes who he is, as we see just this interpretative style of Hugo stealing this like horse figure. We have these cards that have the horse head on them, him stealing what looks like maybe a painting or something of an ethereal by just pushing into his hat. Cool little magic trick. They acknowledge that he always makes a flashy exit, saying it's like he's rubbing it in our faces, which he absolutely is. We can see this at the end of the trailer, and we know it from just his entire character. He spits in the face of authority. He will take any opportunity to mock those who would stand above him. And as that's being said, we're getting this visual of essentially his like criminal wanted poster almost, but it's like a classified thing, so it's not a wanted poster, but sort of that vibe. And we have these other two of Vivian and Lycon, which just for conservative like use of resources, they just use their icons, but presumably this is like an information map of like connections he has type thing. We have this weird sort of like tracker thing of like showing where he is or like different crimes he's committed, stuff like that. And then they describe one time that they almost caught him. But as he's saying this and we're getting these cool freeze frame visuals of his escape, it says target has escaped behind everything. But then things begin to go into motion as they chase him to a window, where then he just smiles, dives out the window backwards, falling into the hollow, as the officer says he's a lunatic, which, as I joked in the reaction, he is. He is a madman. Few would dare do what he does, or attempt it in such a dramatic fashion, and yet he does. He is fearless. He is dramatic. He is Hugo. As he bids farewell to the people trying to catch him, the police, calling them his friends and saying he shall return. A mockery of what their goal is as he falls into the hollow. And then as he lands in the hollow and the fight begins, the lyrics come in, and I really, really want to try to listen to the lyrics, but it's going to be really hard over the fact that Hugo is talking. So hopefully we can get that more as like an isolated track at some point, because I would love to look at the lyrics. But to focus in on what is actually being said by Hugo, he says pretty much to no one, it's more just narration. Treasure doesn't shine brightest, lies do. Which is an interesting line. It's a bit vague in what its direct intent is supposed to be, but I guess what it's trying to say is that money isn't the most important or valuable thing, it's lies. A well-kept lie is valuable, and lies that wish to be uncovered are equally valuable. And furthermore, a revealed lie is something that shines brightly. It is not something that can be ignored. And then he continues, very much just sort of in his hyper edgy, dramatic fashion, stating, "By the covenant of darkness, I shall steal your light." Which realistically could just be a nonsense dramatic line, but if you wanted to sort of stretch it and try to connect it to the previous line, it perhaps could be that the light is the shining of the lies as well as the treasure, and Hugo is stating that I shall take that, I shall steal that which shines bright in the light, being lies and treasure. And I just gotta say, the fighting is immaculate. I love the fight choreography. But then the next line is, "Your anger is like a dull blade. It can't even cut my shadow." Once again, very edgy, very dramatic, but it is just sheer mockery at this point. It is mocking his opponent in battle, stating that you can't even cut my shadow. But given that he says your anger is like a dull blade, it does perhaps have some more meaning. Something that has been a major question for Hugo as a character from a meta standpoint is how much of him is fueled by anger, by hatred, by vengeance. At different points in the story, it has seemed more and less like his core motivator. And so from that perspective, it could be that he is someone filled with anger and rage and hatred for those he fights. But he does not let it control him. It is a well-tempered blade that cuts through those he seeks vengeance against, those that he seeks to bring justice to. So if this is being directed at the Thanatos he is fighting, then it is nothing but a wild beast raging against everything. It cannot focus that anger into a sharp, cutting blade. It is merely a dull one. If this is directed at anyone else, it's just the idea that you have not tempered that blade in the same way I have. You have not controlled and focused your anger towards your goal. And as the fight ends, he says, before chasing the storm, one ought to learn to dance with the dust. If you're going to dive headfirst into just the raging chaos of the storm, whatever that may be, you gotta learn to dance with the dust. You have to be able to move with the flow of everything. You must know what way the wind is blowing so that you can move with it to reach your goal within the storm. The storm is a raging tempest, and you must find the path through it, and the only way to do that is to dance. You must play the part of either a hero or villain depending on what the scenario requires, so that you can reach the storm, get to the eye of the storm, where your goals reside. In Hugo's case, he must pierce through the storm that is Tops and just the entirety of the upper echelons of New Eridu, so he may finally enact his justice. But from there, they return to the briefing, stating that they have his next mark and that they are going to use it as bait, but it turns out he's already got it. He's on his way out with it. We don't see it on him there, but we know he's gotten it out. And now that we've realized he's already gotten his mark, being one step ahead of them, we see him on the rooftop with Vivian. Vivian questioning the validity of this job, though. How is this any different from regular thievery? She is here to be a phantom thief, to make a point, to be a hero of justice. And Hugo's only response is, don't you just love the look on their faces? This is no regular thievery. I did not steal this for the money. I stole this to prove a point, to make them confused and flustered, to put them on edge, to prove the point that they are not invincible. But Vivian continues to question it. It's too flashy, but Hugo does not respond. We merely hear Hugo's recorded voice, likely left for the police to hear. Relax. Your dirty little secrets are about to come to light. Presumably what is in that safe. Soon you'll be on your knees begging me for mercy. Hypocrites. He is laughing in their faces, mocking them, stating that I control everything here. You all are hypocrites. You claim to protect the city, and yet you have so many dark little secrets. And now I can tell them to anyone I choose. I can reveal it to everyone if I wish, and all you can do is beg. And then, interestingly enough, the last shot we have is of Hugo, looking up to the night sky. It is unclear if he knows what is going on, but it is clear just from association that he is likely thinking about Hugo, or that Hugo is thinking of Lycon. Perhaps both. Interpret that however you will. And then the trailer ends out with one final line. Thanks for the entertainment. See you all in the next act. Which is, on its surface, obviously just a finishing line for his recording, mocking the police further, saying he is not done, he is not stopping, this is merely the turning of the axe. But from a meta standpoint, it is very fun, seeing as he is the final character before 2.0. He is arriving to have some fun, and then we will move on into the next act. It's almost him saying that he will be there in the next act. Who knows if he'll be in 2.0? But it will be great to see him if that is truly the case. Ultimately, this is, like I said, just a delight of a trailer to watch. This demo is amazing. It's so good, I love it. It's really stylistically interesting, and it's so Hugo. But with that, I don't really have too much more to say, so feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, leave a comment on your thoughts, and I hope you all had a great day. Goodbye!